Traveler, welcome back to the Hall of Shores. It has been a very rough year here in the fortress. Our dwarves have gone through many trials and tribulations recently. Now, the fortress has been coming along great, and it's not the problems within the fortress that we are actually having issues with. It's the problems coming from outside of our own borders. We started off this year with creating our second melee infantry squad, filling it up with new recruits and giving them metal armor and weapons. Now, I had no idea how much conflict they were actually going to see within this year. They were almost completely unprepared. In early spring, the dead walked into our lands. The Necromancer's tower from nearby had resurrected plenty of undead dwarves, and they now marched upon our fortress. We went ahead and put our melee infantry squads in the buffer room, where they would be our last stand against any enemies coming through the trap hallway. This undead force was full of 21 undead creatures of dwarf, elf, and human blood. Their rotting corpses were just barely held together by armor and leather straps. And quickly, with our gate closed, they decided to descend into our trap hallway. The undead creatures were not the fastest or the most mobile, but they did move with purpose. They were in our trap hallway in just a matter of seconds. Our traps went to work. Our stonefall traps would break already rotten bones and dent the metal armor that they carried. Our weapon traps quickly dismembered them and cut off limb, tearing through limb, bone, and rotten flesh alike. It seemed that a couple of the dwarves did move a little bit faster than their fellow zombies, but they were still cut down all the same. They did end up killing one dwarf, one of our clothes makers. He was caught on the surface when we shut the gates, and he did not make it back in time. After the majority of them had died, we sent out our military to finish off the stragglers. They made quick work of the 2 or 3 zombies that stayed above the surface. We then sent out the cleaning crew to pick up any metal bits of armor that the zombies had left. The rotten bits and pieces of our foes were thrown into an atom smasher, one of our new garbage disposal systems that we used within the fort. Snatchers still braved our front gate, and as they rushed in, they actually bypassed our guard animals. Setting the military upon them, they ended up killing one of the snatchers. And up above, our bear Grimfang actually got one of the dwarves as it ran through. They weren't as sneaky as they wished they would have been. Also, a dog got a kill on a goblin. So promptly, we named him Warhound. A human caravan arrived where we traded them a lot of shell and bone, jewelry and crafts, and we traded for a lot of food. Down below a forgotten beast, a skinless iguana made its way beneath our fort. Now, this beast did not have as many kills as most forgotten beasts did, but it was still a threat none the least. After getting attacked by a horde of zombies, it was time to do a counterattack against the Necromancer themselves. We knew where their tower was, we knew where they lived, so we sent out a military group after them to see if we could manage to kill the Necromancer to put an end to these attacks. When the military group arrived back, we actually did manage to kill the Necromancer, along with 30 undead dwarves and 10 undead humans. What we did not know is that they sent 53 more undead creatures shambling upon our fortress soon after. Now, 2 fishermen were caught on the march of the undead. They ended up dying, but they were not resurrected due to there being no Necromancer in these war parties. Again, the zombies descended upon our fortress and to our trap hallway. An undead dwarf clad in armor rushed through our halls, being faster than all the other ones and getting caught into a metal cage trap. The rest of the undead creatures began shambling through the trap hallway, their rotten flesh stinking its corridors. Our traps did their job, cutting down the undead beasts one by one as they made their way through the hallway. A lot of these undead creatures carried lots of valuable armor and weapons with them. We were down to our last cage trap also, so there was a chance our military would actually see combat during this siege. As the zombies got closer and closer, our dwarves prepared for a fight. which they got when the zombie broke through the hallway and they went and cleared out the trap corridor, slaying 7 undead dwarves as they went. Our cleanup crew was sent out to pick up all of the armored bits and reset our traps, already preparing for the next fight. These attacks of undead creatures needed to come to an end. We had other things to focus on, and fighting zombies was not going to be one of them. The counterattacks went pretty well. A lot of undead creatures were slain, and a little bit of loot was collected from the necromancy towers. Still in the early spring, 31 goblins charged our fort. Our military could not catch a break this season. Declining their petitions for a loss of life, we decided to go ahead and fight them. Closing our gates, the goblins made the same mistake that the mindless zombies did. They charged our trap hallway. They were much quicker than the undead creatures, but they were cut down all the same. Our stonefall traps breaking bones and necks, while our weapon traps dismembered them and tore off tendons and cut meat from bone. Weapons and shields dropped to the ground as their arms carrying them were dismembered. There were lots of kidnapped dwarves that had grown up believing they were goblins coming to fight their own kin. But they were cut down all the same as the green scum. After rapidly losing, the goblins and the kidnapped dwarves decided to retreat, climbing over the bodies of their allies and swimming through pools of bile and blood to get out of the fort. The cleanup crew went about mopping the floors, picking up armor and weapons that we would then use for our own armies, and obviously resetting our traps. Hearing how rich the Hall of Shores fortress had become, the humans sent 3 full trade wagons to our fortress, bringing along with them a female grizzly bear, which obviously we would trade for and put her in the hallway with Grimfang, our giant black bear. Midsummer, we were attacked by a bird that was larger than the dragons of legend. I had never dealt with this foe before, so I was very interested to see what this creature was. Closing our gate, I watched as the bird flew in from our borders with rapid pace, killing 5 of our dwarves, including our legendary gem cutter, which deeply hurt our fortress and our production of valuables. The bird itself had over 55 notable kills from other fortresses spanning all the way back to the year of 31, 69 years before our fortress was even founded. The giant bird was eventually cut down by one of our gem cutters as it buried a copper pickaxe deep into the bird's skull, rendering it lifeless. After finding the gem setter, we gave her a title that she had greatly earned, the Bane of Feather. With more and more dwarves being slaughtered outside of our gates, we decided to add a couple tombs to the fortress. After realizing our artifact hall was not going to be a good enough location, I went ahead and built a place that I will call the Heroes Hall. This hallway will display the heroic acts of our dwarves for all to see. So we went ahead and moved the now skeleton of the giant eagle up to the hallway, which a child carried, and it weighed over 36,000 pounds. In midwinter, another giant dragon-sized bird decided to attack our fortress. The giant rock Teofima flew from our borders and quickly made her way over to the fortress, where our spear dwarves quickly met her. After piercing her multiple times with iron weapons, she decided to fly off for a moment and try to regain her strength. Quickly, she realized she could not leave here without a fight and returned back to our dwarves. The dwarf wielding the spear that put the bird out of its misery decided to name the weapon Besmar Dimshosh. The giant eagle laid next to her kin in the Heroes Hall. These 2 corpses were now on display for all to see within the fortress. Again, a dwarf child carried it up to the Heroes Hall, this one only weighing 26,000 pounds, an entire 10,000 pounds less than the previous one. Another year has passed here in the fortress of the Hall of Shores. The Archland dwarves will always welcome you with open arms when you arrive. And yet this was not a year of gratitude and homemaking, but a year of conflict. Hopefully there are brighter seasons ahead of us. Now, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really enjoy making these, and I'm very, very appreciative of the fact that you even clicked on this. I am a smaller YouTuber, so leaving a like, comment, or a subscribe helps me out a ton. You will be seeing here on this screen other videos and playlists of my Dwarf Fortress content. If you would like to check those out, feel free. More Hall of Shores episodes will be coming out very, very soon. This has been a blast to make, and I really appreciate you checking out this video once again. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.